that span across both locally Malaysia and across Southeast Asia. Through New Skin, he has extended his reach from a regional business to owning a global business. He now enjoys time flexibility and control over his life, a healthy mind and body thanks to the products, and most importantly, he has grown into a person of strong values and characters. It made me wonder, right? Someone with such an extensive business background and a global outlook, why? Why would someone like him choose New Skin? Well, I believe he definitely saw something here that aligned with his vision and values. So just like all of you here, I'm also super excited to find out exactly what that is. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please give your cyber applause, flowers, love, and welcome Executive Brand Director, Mr. Ron Tan.
Woohoo! Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Zach, for the introduction. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, all over the world. My name is Ron Tan, and I am sharing with you this evening from Kuala Lumpur. All right, thank you. I see we have a lot of people from all over the world joining us tonight. Welcome, and I also like to thank Zach and also thank the crew behind this session tonight, right, for making this possible. But I think first and foremost, I'd like to thank the system for giving me an opportunity to share my story about why New Skin, and I hope this experience sharing can help you identify why New Skin is the best opportunity platform today. Okay, so that's my intention of tonight. Before I get started, maybe I just share a little bit about myself. Okay, let me see. Let's get the slides going. I am actually a kampong boy. Right? I grew up in a city called Sungai Petani in Kedah. All right, many years ago. So I grew up there. My father used to run a petrol station, and I, from school and all that, I always help out in the business. So I think I was exposed to doing some form of business at a very young age, right? But then I think like to thank my parents who then, scooted me off to school, university and all that, right? I think during our era, the age, right? Always say, go and study hard, go get a good job, and then your future will be secure, right? So that's what I did, I think I went to school in Sungai Petani. Then after that, I went to the US for my degree, and then I came back to work in Singapore, and I work in Malaysia. So I was an employee, right? I was trained to be an employee. I was in the field of electronic engineering. So I worked as an engineer for a few years in Singapore, and I was sent to the US for internship and all that good stuff, right? And after a while, I felt that, hey, after a few years working, I came back to Malaysia and I continued to work again for corporate. And then I always wanted to start my own business, right? And I think like many working adults out there, you will probably also have a lot of friends who ask you to buy insurance, invest in unit trusts, go in some form of network marketing business. I'm sure all of you would have experienced that, right? So that's happened to me as well. So because of my background of exposure to some form of business, so I was very open. So at one point in time, I delved into network marketing, didn't know what to do and all that, but I just went head on, right? I was also at one time went into insurance. I also went into mutual funds, primarily because I was a user. I think some of you buy insurance, some of you buy unit trust, and your agents will definitely ask you to come, hey, John, come and join us, right? What are you going to do after when you get out of a job and all that, right? So I did that, right? But then because I was in IT, right? So I wanted to form a business in IT. So the opportunity came in the year 2000, and I did. It was during the dot-com boom, right? At that point in time, everybody was saying this is the right time to go and do your business, right? So with some friends and all that, so I started the business. And lo and behold, right, without any experience in running a business and all that, so we were really taking it rough, lah, right? And cut a story short, I went back to work again. The business shut down after the dot-com busted, and then I went back to work again, lah, right? So in a way, I was exposed to several areas of trying to make money, looking for greener pasture. I'm not sure how many of you have gone through that, right? But that was my era. At that point in time, we were always looking to make more money, right? Without an inkling of understanding how money was made. So during that stage, right, I also put on a lot of weight. My health deteriorated at the expense of, me and my wife, we didn't know how to take care of our health, right? So we were just try to exercise, try to keep control of our diet, but it was difficult until I was introduced to Nu Skin, right? So I think like many of you, I went through a weight management program and after 3 months, we transformed, right? After 3 months, we managed to regain our health, and we look good, better, right? Better than previously, right? Then of course, our upline will ask us, hey, come and do the business, come and explore and all that, which we did, right? But I just want to run through with you about what happened in our life in Nu Skin, right? So after that, this is what happened to us 10 years later, and this is where we are 14 years later, right? So I think one thing for sure, right, that we managed, right, is we managed to take control of our health, right? So we managed to try to stay younger as long as possible, and also try to avoid age-related diseases. So I was not so much into the business. I didn't really understand business other than insurance, mutual fund, and all that, right? So my sponsor and then asked me to go and attend a convention. He said, come and listen, right? So I went. So to my amazement, right, that so many people, and I was saying, hey, how come there are so many qualified individuals who come and do this business full time, right? So I was wondering, is there something about network marketing that I didn't know or I don't understand, right? Because previously in other network marketing platform, we were told to sell products, given a script, chase other people. And then after a while, we didn't like that, right? I don't think that's my cup of tea, right? But when I came into this convention, right, I learned a lot. I learned that, it's about building business rather than just retail sales, right? And I also learned a lot of things like how we make money, right? Because I think at that stage of my life, I was just running out and make money, working for people, getting into self-employed, which I didn't know about ESBI, going into some form of IT business. And it showed me that actually you can build a passive income, exponential residual income. I say, is that too good to be true, right? So then I start to think, how is it possible, right? So from that session, I also learned about ESBI, cash flow quadrant, right? So I think many of you know about this, right? But for me, right, I was just a standard engineer at that point in time, trying to make more money, but didn't know about quadrant, all of this. I don't understand, right? Financial, not so good, right? Engineering can, right? So, but I realized from that I was moving between the employee and self-employed, and then after that business didn't do well, I go back to become an employee again. So I was stuck in the active income mode, right? Until the point in time, I found that, hey, actually, right, they asked me a couple of questions, and if I continue to do my work as an engineer, or maybe even do some, self-employed, can you get financial freedom? So the answer was no, right? I can't. I would foresee that I will be working for people for the rest of my life, right? So at that point in time, it was okay because it's ingrained in our brain, right? That you're supposed to work till you retire. Then after you retire, what happens? No need to think so far. I don't know. Okay, those were the era, right? Those were my era, at least it was me, right? So they say, hey, actually, you should be looking for how long you can continue to earn, even when you stop working, right? So those was like, wow, that's true, right? It makes a lot of sense, right? So then how do you actually do that? Is you need to be in the business quadrant, right? So of course, right, when I first went out and do my IT business, I thought I was in the business quadrant, but actually I was still a self-employed person, right? Coming out with your own money, getting people to work for you. If people don't pay you money, you get stuck, and a lot of all of these issues, right? There was a lot of risk involved, right? So then I found out and I learned from the convention, and subsequent I went to sessions with Success Together. I learned about having a global business. I learned about building a structure or having a system to build business, right? Like a global business. So of course, it attracted me lah, because I'm sure it also attract you, right? You know, when you talk about doing business, right? But at that point in time, life was pretty simple. Pre-COVID, pre-AI, if you all can imagine, right? Life was pretty simple, but right now, things are a little bit different. You know, there's a very uncertain economy. There's a lot of cowboys in the economy making tariffs and all that, right? There's a lot of challenges, and I think it's kind of difficult for you, lah. You know, if I were in your situation right now, starting off working for people and say, what kind of business should I be doing, right? I will have all these challenges. Now, of course, we always want to think about building my own business. I'm the own boss, right? We always have that kind of mentality, right? Um, which I thought, right, after a while, it becomes very, very risky. It doesn't mean that you're not capable, right? But it means that there's a lot of risk involved, right? Which if you, normally when you want to do business, you have to come up with capital, right? Where does the capital come from? Usually from your savings, right? So I know that because last time I used to have savings and then I put into the business, and when the business didn't work out, I lost all that money. I have to restart again to save again, right? So even at this point in time where there are a lot of challenges, right, it becomes more risky, right? So it makes it a lot difficult lah. And then also now you got complications like AI lah. You know, is it a good time to get into AI? What if I do my traditional business and then it get replaced by AI type of business? So right now it's very, very uncertain. A lot of people cutting off jobs, companies shutting down, and there's also like no choice. You have to continue to work, right? So a lot of all this, right, makes it very difficult to start a business now, in my opinion, right? Now, I'm not saying that you cannot, but it's a lot of risk. That's what I'm saying, a lot of risk. So basically, what I want to get across to you is that the world is changing. Where are we today, right? All of us wants to, the fact that you are here today, right, is that you want to look into a business, right? But what kind of business should we be looking at? Do you have to be very conversant in AI? Do you have to, know a lot about risk transfer? Do you have to worry about tariffs? There's so many uncertainty, right? So how are we going to catch up, right? So today we're going to give you a solution. The solution is basically help us to understand what is a good business, right? All of us want business, but which one should we go to? Should we get into food business? Should we get into delivery? Should we get into clothing? Should we get into baby food? There's so many things, right? And today I'm going to share with you and hope that, I can get across to you that what is a good business that is something that can help address or solve people's problem. That would be a good business. And today we're talking about health, beauty, and perhaps also give others an opportunity, right? So if I will be able to do this and give you an opportunity, it will be good business for me, right? And the same thing, same time for you as well, right? If you can do that, of course it will be a good business, right? You can help people solve their problems, and at the same time, we can benefit from it as well. So we're going to share with you one particular area called the health and wellness market, all right? And this is not one market that we tikam or we just choose or whatever, right? This is after some form of research, due diligence, and we find out that actually this market is worth going into, right? The global wellness market, right? So, but how big is it? What kind of numbers are we talking about? What kind of revenue? So I think at this stage, right, when we want to do business, we should be thinking about, is there any growth potential in the business, right? Rather than to do something that I think, oh, I like cooking, I like to bake, I'll do a baking business, right? I mean, that's not wrong, but I think if we can think a bit bigger, think a bit further, and say, hey, that baking can only solve somebody's yearning for cakes, right? But if I can have a much bigger market, right, and if I put my time there, right, it'll be worth my time, right? Because time is a resource that we don't have enough, right? So these three areas are critical or big, it's big, right? So if I were able to get into this, right, it's fantastic, right? Everybody wants that, right? Because it's a $1 trillion business. Okay, so we continue to look into the statistics. These are some of the research, right, that we normally would like to do, right, before we jump into a business. So I look into that and I say, wow, this business continue to grow. Why? Very simple. Everybody wants to be healthy, man. Have you come across anybody who said they don't want to be healthy? No. Have you come to anybody who say that they want to look ugly? No. Right? Do you ever come anybody who says that, oh, I want to get old quickly and pass on? No, right? A lot of people want to be well, right? So there is a global wellness trend, and these are all the facts and data, right? And plus the fact that if you go into a little bit detail, right, half of the world will be overweight or obese. So that is a problem. That's a global problem, right? And you don't think globally so far, you talk about Southeast Asia. Malaysia is number one, right? If you look at it, right, it's very, very high, right? Thailand, Singapore, these are all affluent countries where obesity is an issue. So if I can offer a solution, help somebody with obesity issue, that would be a good business, right? So if you think along those ways, right, and then you can start to see, hey, that area, not too bad. I'm just talking about areas to get into. And the fact that the world is aging also, right? A lot of people, through technology, through proper information about diet and nutrition, they're able to take better control of their life. So the world is aging, right? So you tend to live longer. And there's new term that talk about youth span. How long can I stay youthful longer? Would I want to be old like the guy on the wheelchair, or do I want to still be active and be able to, engage in sport activities, right? The answer is very obvious, right? So obviously, youth span is also very important, right? So some of the key points that, I find that is very, very relevant, right? So like, for example, if you think, right, if I want to get into the personal care, beauty, this is where we talk about the key areas of growth, right? So if I want to look into it, right? So if I want to go into it, what do I do? All right. So some people may think, hey, I think I want to go and create my own product. I come up with this. I OEM this. I put my name and all that. So I'm addressing the personal care, beauty, right? You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But if we want to do this business on a bigger scale, right? I think it's better to partner, I used to be in the IT environment where we develop programs, we develop codes. We wanted to be the leading edge, right? And I find that it's very, very tough because there's a lot of competition. People who have a lot more money to pump in, to have more resources, to have more technology, can beat you anytime. So that's not the position I want to be in, right? So if I want to look into the wellness market, right, I want to be, if possible, number one, right? Correct or not? But I cannot be number one, right, if I'm just starting a business, right? So what do? I choose to partner. So I ask myself, who is the world leader in personal care and beauty? Because it's a big market, right? Who is the world leader? So I start to ask these questions, right? So when you talk about healthy eating, nutrition, and weight loss, who is leading? Right? So we ask these questions, right? Or I ask these questions, right? And then I say, hey, all of this, the world is aging, who is innovating? Right? So these are all very simple, basic questions that I ask myself, right? After some experience in running other businesses, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, the answers to all this points to a company called New Skin, right? So it's very clear, right? So today I'm going to share with you the points, right? Why New Skin is number one. why you should partner. And if you choose to partner, what must you do? Right? I think we are talking about a real business opportunity, right? Right? Rather than ask you to come and sell this product, sell that product without proper understanding or a baseline of where you're going to put your time in. Because I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when you want to build your business or in anything that we want to build, right, or you want to bring up your family or whatever, we need to invest time. Time is the only thing that's very critical, right? More than money, right? Because time is actually more than money, right? So I would choose intelligently, right? So that's what I would do. So that's why we're sharing with you tonight with this. So who is this Nu Skin anyway? The first time I heard about a company, I thought it must be a skincare company. Oh, somebody introduced me to this big company. Must be an MLM company. So that was my first impression. And usually I will block. I don't know about you, right? I will block, right? But after a while, I become a little bit smarter. I say I unblock. I say actually maybe I put a little bit more time and find out what is this Nu Skin all about, right? So to my surprise, I found out that wow, this company is actually listed in the New York Stock Exchange. They've been around for 40 years, and they are in more than 50 countries, like what Zach mentioned to you, right? So there's a global opportunity, right? So I'm going to run through a quick video with you to tell you who Nu Skin is. Very quick one.
Nu Skin expands. We innovate for science and technology.
We are building a future together.
You know, becoming the world's #1 brand for beauty device systems for 6 consecutive years. That's no cakewalk. But Nu Skin? We've got science, innovation, and hard work in our DNA. It wasn't always glitz and glam. We started with a dream back in 1984, just a few products and a whole lot of ambition. And by 1991, we were taking on the world, opening our first overseas market in Hong Kong. LifePak was out there, making waves alongside our big entrance into Europe. Then came 1996, a big year. We hit the New York Stock Exchange, a publicly traded company founded on family values. And we also launched the Nu Skin Force for Good Foundation. That is all about spreading positivity and making the world a better place. In our pursuit of promoting healthy lifestyles and inner well-being, we acquired Pharmanex in 1998, introducing supplements and wellness programs to our markets. In 2001, we pioneered the handheld galvanic spa, a compact, intelligent, and powerful device that marked Nu Skin's entry into the era of cutting-edge devices. Nu Skin establishing Nourish the Children in 2002, we committed to the belief that no child should endure hunger. We want to empower future generations one meal at a time. And to date, we've provided over 800 million meals. Continuing our commitment to technological innovation, we launched the Pharmanex Biophotonic Scanner in 2003. In 2009, we revolutionized our product line with age-lock science-based products and forging a partnership with LifeGen Technologies. In 2010, our founder's vision materialized, with the creation of the Innovation Center in Provo, serving as an open campus for our employees and brand affiliates. Our partnership with LifeGen flourished, culminating in Nu Skin's acquisition of LifeGen in 2011, opening doors to faster innovation, revolutionary products, and limitless possibilities. In 2015, Nu Skin's incentive trip to Morocco won the prestigious C&IT Award for Best Incentive Trip of the Year, a tradition we continued with our island trip. We earned Euromonitor's recognition as the world's #1 brand for beauty device systems in 2016, and we've proudly held that title for 6 consecutive years. Venturing into the Internet of Things realm in 2022, we connected our first device online, the ageLOC Lumispa IO, ushering in a new era of connectivity and innovation. This laid the foundation for the launch of our integrated beauty and wellness device, the ageLOC WellSpa IO, in 2023. With 40 years of dedication to science, innovation, and perseverance, we stand poised to embrace the boundless opportunities that lie ahead. Just imagine the opportunity.
So as you can see, right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a huge company, right? And today the opportunity is to partner with a company, right? So the company is publicly said, you hear a lot of innovation, and at the core of the company is this thing called age-lock technology, which basically can help us slow down the aging process. So have a lot of IP or intellectual property with the company because they've done the research for many, many years, right? They're putting a lot of money in R&D, and they have a lot, and they were featured in Discovery Channel. There's a lot of recognition. So this feature in Discovery Channel is very important. Why? Because it's broadcasted globally. Everybody, every scientist, every professor can also view this, right? So if you think about it, right, there's a lot of substance in it, for them to be featured in Discovery Channel. And the list of achievements, awards, patents, scientific posters, you name it, right? So when I saw all of this, I was, wow, and all like research facilities, not only in the US, but in China, manufacturing facilities. So this is not your typical network marketing company. This is actually a global multinational corporation in the field of anti-aging. I used to be in the IT industry. I used to work for big multinational corporations in IT. So when I saw this, I also want to work for Nu Skin. You know what I mean? Because of the attraction, right? And I look at all the track record in terms of the products that they've come out. It shows us that it's innovation, right? Innovation equals to R&D efforts, right? And also to be able to come out with that. And they are now a 15 billion US dollar brand. So if all of this, right, how easy will it be for me, right, to start this company from scratch? It's impossible, right? Maybe if it's not impossible, it may take me 10, 20 years. It took the company 40 years, right? So where do I want to play, right? So I'm so happy, right? Number one, that they're also very strong in weight management. They're also very strong, recognized as number one in beauty device. So we have all of this, right? And now we're going to come up with new innovation with regards to monitoring our nutritional health with our Prism IO, right? Not only are we able to tell whether the supplements we are taking are working, but we can find out the condition of our overall nutritional health. So this one is really, really outstanding, right? So then it gave me a lot of information, right, and impact, right, about who Nu Skin is, right? If today you are brought here and you probably think that you're going to hear an MLM talk and all that, right, I think you'll be surprised, right? I was pleasantly surprised when I researched and find out all of this, right? They are into anti-aging. They have this data diagnostic. They got huge databases of health information, right? So they are huge, and they are global. So Zach mentioned to you earlier, right? When you want to talk about business, why do local? Go global, right? So today, this opportunity is for us. And not only that, there's a lot of people who are what do you call that? Are successful in building the business, right? So from my perspective, right, it is a fantastic and a fabulous opportunity. I don't know about you, right? Right? So if I think about it, right, I can own this business. Why? Because of the business model of Nu Skin. The world is changing fast. Are you catching up? Are you still thinking about building your own business, starting from scratch, OEM certain products? Or are you thinking about a global business, looking at how to partner with global giants, right? And reach out to everybody in the world, right? So if you are thinking of starting your own business and starting from scratch, I will tell you, don't take the risk, because the pandemic has taught us the importance of low-risk business model. Don't put in all your capital, 200,000, or go and buy a franchise and all. Don't do that, because it's very risky. And now, post-pandemic, health is also very important. We all know that, right? So if we are able to go into the health business, lower our risk, and build passive income, that will be the ideal business, in my opinion, right? Why is the ideal business? Because a lot of time now with AI, with Google, with all of the internet that we have, right, barrier to health information is no longer there. Today, if you tell me I have this case, I may not know, but I can check out. I can ask ChatGPT. I can be very, very fast to be knowledgeable. I may not be an expert in it, but at least I know what is it all about, right? Right. So if we are able to have that, and if we're able to be in a platform that can educate people on all this, right? Wouldn't this make this a fantastic business opportunity? Because after pandemic, right, I'm sure a lot of people, like, they want to be on the preventive side. Nobody wants to go through the pandemic again. Nobody wants to be caught into a pandemic without proper immune system health, right? So as much as possible now, I prepare myself. I don't want to be sick. I'm sure a lot of your friends around you don't want to be sick as well. So preventive healthcare is something that's emerging. People is willing to spend for preventive rather than wait to go into the hospital and pay, right? So this is something. But with that, right, there's a lot of demands. People will say, hey, why should I take your new skin supplement, right? How do I know they are working? Hey, can you give me personalized just for me? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of demand, right, in terms of personalization, technology, innovation, to be able to deliver this to the customer. The customer now has become much, much more demanding, right, compared to last time, right? So is opportunity nowhere, or is the opportunity now here? My brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, the opportunity is now here. With what? With the new skin opportunity. Okay, so I've told you a lot about good things about new skin. I told you a lot about the industry, why we should be proactive, why should we be on the defensive, why should we keep our defense system high, why should we demand to find out whatever product that I'm taking works, you know, because this is all right, right? So if that is the landscape, right, I cannot afford to do it myself. Right? Today, if you are working for somebody, if you have a few $100,000 that you're thinking of investing it to start a business, think about partnering with a giant, right? Most of the time, we don't have this opportunity. How can you partner with Apple? How can you be a reseller for Samsung? How can you be a reseller for Ozempic? For example, you can't. We can't. But with New Skin, we can. That's the beauty, right? Okay, so what do we do, right? So the beauty about this network model is that the company is focused on all the innovation, all the product development and all that, and they require us as the integral part to be their distribution channel, right? So we need to play an integral part in this partnership, right? And what we need to do is just two things: share products with customers, share the business opportunity, like what I'm doing right now, right? So when we think about this, right, we sort of have New Skin as our company that we can go out and share, right? So, but when we're talking about sharing, where does the income come from? The income comes from network. Collaborating with a New Skin company does not mean that you just sell New Skin products. That's one of the things we do. The second thing that we do is we can build global network. That is the power of the business, right? I just give you an example over here, like 7-Eleven. We all know about 7-Eleven. Do you know that, for example, in a 7-Eleven in Taiwan, they sell tea egg. So we know a tea egg is very small. The profit probably is 50 cents, right? If they sell 100 tea eggs a day, probably the profit is $50. So say, oh my God, what kind of business are we doing? So small, $50 profit. But if I were to have that consistently, my profit will be 1,500. But what if I have 3,000 shops selling that same thing? Then my profit per month will be 4.5 million. My profit a year will be 54 million. My goodness. By selling one tea egg, we have 50 cents profit. So this is the power of network. The same thing can happen. The same thing is what we are doing with the New Skin opportunity. we are looking to build 3,000 shops, 3,000 franchises in our own network, in your own network, right? Today, if you were to be thinking about going into the franchise network, you want to buy a franchise, well, you can do that, but you probably spend $500,000 or so buying one franchise, right? And then you just earn from that franchise, right? But in this business opportunity we're talking about, the opportunity for you to build 3,000, 5,000, 20,000 franchises globally. And you don't even have to come up with a single cent to open these franchises in other countries. So this is the opportunity we're talking about. All right. So where can we play? Globally. Why? Because Nu Skin is available in 50 countries, right? So what do we need to do? How to get started? Of course, the first thing is we become a consumer of a product. We share the product, right? So this is a model that we have with Success Together, which is pretty simple and straightforward, right? So you share the product, you become a brand representative, you work with the person who brought you in here to learn how to build the business and target to get an income of more than 10,000 ringgit or 5,000 Sing dollar a month. So that's the first thing that you do. So it's pretty simple, straightforward. So once you are able to do that, right, what you then do is we will teach you how to duplicate that network. So maybe you start off with yourself and then you start to build 5. Then you teach the 5 to build another 5. So this is what we call duplication. And this is part of the business model in Nu Skin. Nu Skin will reward 6 levels of distributor, right? So this 6 levels of distribution network can be any of the 50 countries in the world, right? So today, I'm so fortunate and I'm very grateful that through this business, I've got friends, partners in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Australia, in South Africa, in US, where I used to study, also friends and partners in the UK and in Europe. How is it possible? Ron, how come you can do all of this? I tell you, I didn't do anything. These are all the existing infrastructure where Nu Skin is already established for the last 40 years. Remember the chart I show you? I only do 2 things. I consume product and I share the business opportunity with them. When the product helps them, they will be eager to help their friend around them as well. And through that distribution methodology, I get compensated. All right. So if it works for me, it will also work for you. Right. So again, I think I reiterated, I've spoke a little bit more, and I want to reiterate again that this particular business model, there's no risk for me and also no risk for you. All right. That does not mean that this business has no risk, right? We are just part of the distribution network, part of the bigger model, right? There is a lot of risk involved with regards to R&D, manufacturing, opening of new market, expiry of products, logistics. There's a lot of risk, but this risk has been transferred to Nu Skin, right? So all we need to work on our part is to make sure that we get the distribution portion right. Okay, so that's why we say it's no risk on our side, right? But if we consider to work with Nu Skin, we want to make sure that the company makes money so that they can continue to come up with new products, so that we can also have unlimited income potential. Okay, so this is also a very long-term and sustainable income. Why? Because Nu Skin has been around for 40 years. Why is it long-term and sustainable? Because we now know also what is the R&D roadmap. What are some of the products that's coming out? What are some of the markets that Nu Skin is going to open? We have full visibility of that. So then we can start to plan our work, right? And we can plan our business expansion. So like, for example, today, we're going to help, and who can be attracted to this kind of business will be micro entrepreneurs, people who are ambitious, but they may not have a lot of capital, people who are ambitious, but they are also more learned in terms of handling risk. So these are what we call micro entrepreneur, right? Gone are the days, or not gone are the days. I mean, this is emerging, right? There's, when these are emerging, which means a lot of people are more keen to look at the business model. And guess what? We are going into another huge economy in the world, which is called India, right? So for us, right, for me, right, I think the opportunity is fantastic. I got huge potential in India. I got very good R&D department, right? I've got team in my company who is looking into setting up the India infrastructure, right? So I've got people who are looking into the legalization, the compliance issue of opening up India. So all I need to do is work on the distribution methodology, technology into India, right? So how do we do all of this? You may ask, hey, Ron, you come from an engineering background, you do business, you've been in financial, insurance. How do you know all of this? Actually, I don't. I came into this business with zero knowledge about network building, right? I had some preconceived perception about network marketing, which I need to quickly put aside. I need to quickly learn how to work with people who are going to build business in this environment. So we're so blessed that we have this group called Success Together, right? So today's event is organized by Success Together. So who is Success Together? Success Together is a group of network distributors like you and me. They have been doing this business for the last 25 years. So what that means is there's a lot of track record. There's a lot of methodology. There's a lot of business support tools. There's a lot of events, a lot of things that are already matured to help us, right? Again, right, I mentioned, right, maybe because of my years of experience working in startups and all that, right, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to work with established business network. I want to work with established companies. And Success Together is one that has proven support system, right? So our success basically can be duplicated. So we have a league of leaders who has already walked the path, who've already seen where the potholes are, and telling us how to avoid that, and telling us how to jumpstart, right? So this is Success Together. And the good thing and the beautiful thing about this is the success can be duplicated, right? So long as we are willing to put in effort, invest our time, and open up our mind to learn. How is it duplicated? Of course, we have a lot of all this infrastructure. This is what we call infrastructure, right? Support tools, coaching, right? Events, conventions, talks like this to reach out to new people, to tell people about this opportunity, this beautiful and wonderful opportunity, right? We've also got education roadmaps established over the years that knows what is relevant for newcomers, what is relevant for people that need to lead their group. So it also involves a lot of personal development, a lot of leadership, right? Which is vital in doing business, right? So bear in mind, right? We're not talking about selling small items on a part-time basis, right? So if you're thinking about that, right, you could be right, but you'll be in a bigger surprise when we talk about building global business. So the mindset is completely different, right? So if today I tell you this amazing opportunity, according to Richard Branson, right, and you're not sure whether you can do it or not, ladies and gentlemen, say yes. You got nothing to lose. Say yes. Learn how to do it, right? I hope today the facts that I offer you, I've shared with you, are very logical. These are the things that I went through. I look at it from an engineer point of view. I look at it from a failed experience in business venture before, and certain things I don't want to do anymore. And I look at it from being a self-employed, and an employee background. So I say, hey, this is really fantastic, but I don't know how to do. What should I do? I learn. I say yes first. Then I learn. So what you can do, ladies and gentlemen, get started. If you like what you hear today, get started. Don't wait. Start on what? Start on your 90-day transformation. Remember, I showed you a slide that our key product, we are number one in weight management. Start in a product that people can see what happened to you. How come you look a lot better? How come you look so nice? How come you look so good? How come you can run so fast? Right? So start your 90-day transformation. That's what you can do. Once you're able to do that, then what do? You share. Right? So we have our T-Army product that you can start. Right? And you can also start to measure your antioxidant scan. Right? You can also start to work towards the Prism IO that we're gonna launch pretty soon. Right? So whatever it is, get started on yourself first. Right? That's what I did. And after I did that, right, and this is something that you can do also, I start to share with friends. Right? So these are some of the things that I went through. I helped all my friends of friends who have some issues with regards to, their belly, their health. They wanted to look good. And these are friends from Australia. They got pre-diabetic and they don't want to take medication anymore. They say, can you help? Say yes. If you know the root cause of all of this metabolic syndrome type of sickness, you can help them. Right? These are friends from South Africa. Everybody in the world wants good health. Nobody will say no to good health, right? We also got very good devices that can tell people how their health is, and they'll be able to substantiate. And we can also offer solutions that can guarantee them that they will improve. Where to find, right? Where to find? That's what I say, right? The first time I measured this, and they told me that they guaranteed me that it will work, I immediately signed up. Because I've never come across any company that can guarantee me that the product works for me. If not, they give me back my money. Why resist? Just say yes. That's what I did, right? And then over time, I go and help a lot of my friends, whether they are weight related, antioxidant related. I've even helped my family members, my son to lose weight, my sister-in-law in Australia to regain her body shape after she went through hormonal imbalances and all of that, right? Even my mother-in-law, right? So the first thing that you can do is take care of yourself first, take care of your family. Because your family, everyone needs to be healthy as well. So my mother-in-law is a classic example of anti-aging, right? So this is how she's 94 this year. And so she had some health challenges, and over the years with our age-stop supplement, look at her right now. She's looking so good for her age. Most importantly is she can live a full life. She can take care of herself. She can eat by herself. She can shower herself. She can do a lot of things by herself at 94. Right? So I want to be like this when I am 94, or even better, right? How about you? Right? I'm sure you too, right? I'm sure you also have loved ones, like parents, like son, like daughters, brother-in-law, sister-in-laws. You also have, right? Wouldn't you want that? Good health? Everybody wants. And not only that, we were able to expand our circles and talk to friends globally. This is in Australia, hook up with lost friends globally, right? And then introduce products. That's basically, we only do two things: introduce product, share the business opportunity, have fun along the way, eat, drink, be merry, and do business, right? So this is a wonderful opportunity, right? And then we also have a lot of recognition. So these are events that are held by Success Together, where we recognize the efforts, the achievements of all our business partners, right? Whether they are from Africa, from Australia, from Kenya, wherever. Everybody, as long as they're a human being, pretty much wants the same thing, right? And with a fantastic company, we get rewarded as well, right? We get rewarded, we get incentive trips. I think there's a lot of other companies who do that, but ours is different in a way that, it's fun. It's much more fun. You get to go with your spouse, enjoy yourself together. And this is something that you can do, not only me. Our next trip is to Shanghai. This is something that you can do as well. And not only by yourself, but with a group of like-minded individuals who want time and financial freedom, who wants a much better life for themselves, for their family, right? Rather than be caught in the rat race, have no time, financial time freedom, cannot do things that they like, right? So, in order to wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for your time, but for the next few minutes, I've just introduced to you a zero-risk business. You may find hard to believe, but this is what it is. It is zero business. That's why someone like me who had put in money in my previous business, when I saw this, I say, are you sure? And after so many years, I say, definitely sure, right? And high leverage, okay? High leverage means I own a company. I own a public listed company. I can think like that, right? I own a public listed company. My company will come out with new products. My company is going to go into India. It's opening the door for me. What am I going to do? I got to look for people, help more friends who want to do business in India and say, hey, come, let's go. It's high leverage. I will never thought in my entire life that I can do business in India. How? Right? So you think about it. So India is an example of global business. Not only in India, today we have 50 countries that we can do business in. Most importantly for me, it's legacy business. It's a business that I can then pass on to my next generation, right? And it's something or an environment in which we can also bring them into it to do together. So isn't that fantastic? To me, it is. So for me, tonight, I just shared with you, in my opinion, the best opportunity platform, which is in the B quadrant, and it's called Nu Skin with Success Together Worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, get started. Again, this is a second reminder. Get started on your wellness bundle. Be healthy. Choose to have your six-pack. Choose to look good, right? Then number two, help more people around you with our product and this fantastic opportunity. All right. So with that, I'm going to wrap up my session here today. I'd like to thank you for listening in. It's a privilege to have all of you here. So I'm going to encourage you, number one, do something today. Say yes. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. All right. This is what happened to me. 14 years ago, I did something which I started on the weight management program. I changed my health. I improved, not only with me, but with my wife, with my sister-in-law, with my son, and my mother-in-law. And I'm also helping a lot more people. And this can happen to you also. So the right time is now, ladies and gentlemen. So I thank you for your time. This is Ron Tan signing off from Kuala Lumpur. Back to you, Zach.
Wow, thank you.